Blackwing back again with another video for you guys. Now, I'm about to review one of the greatest TV shows, superhero TV shows if I might say, of all time. Guys, this show has had a huge fan base. It touched a lot of hearts. It was phenomenal. From the day it was probably announced to the day it was on air and to the day it was canceled. Guys, I'm going to be reviewing Young Justice. Now, this show, forgive me for being all emotional and sentimental and all that, but guys, this show was beautiful. It was amazing. It was outstanding. It was so superb. It was just fantastic. This show was, I would say it's kind of on the level of Teen Titans, but a bit higher, like very, very high up there. And I enjoyed every single moment of it. I mean, I binge watched I just watched the show completely for a third time. I'm gonna watch it for a fourth time, you know, because this show was amazing. It had such an outstanding characters, outstanding voice cast. I mean, look, where are you ever gonna get a show that doesn't focus on the Justice League besides Teen Titans? I mean, the Justice League were in there, but where are you ever gonna get a show like this that has the Justice League but doesn't focus on them, but focuses on just their sidekicks? You're never gonna get a show like this ever. That's what Young Justice was, guys. So let me start off with, the show had 2 seasons. First season had 26 episodes. Second season had 20 episodes. The second season was called Young Justice Invasion, and I'll get to that soon. First season started off with Robin, Dick Grayson, Kid Flash, Wally West, and Aqualad Calderon. Now, this Aqualad was made just for this show, and he actually did appear later in the mainstream of DC Comics, but he had a little bit of comic book appearances. At least he had an appearance in comic books, right? Come on. So, and the first time I saw this, I was like, wait a minute, isn't Aqualad supposed to be white? And I'm like, you know what? It's a black Aqualad. Let's just leave it at that. And trust me, Calderon he's a super dope Aqualad. He makes Garth, the first Aqualad, something. He puts Garth in the dust. That's all I gotta say. So this show starts off with these 3 sidekicks. Oh, and I forgot to mention Speedy, but Speedy leaves earlier in the show because he feels like they weren't going to get entered into the Justice League. So he left the team, because that's what they call themselves. And so accident happens at Cadmus, and so Robin and the other 2 heroes decide to spring into action and take matters into their own hands, even though their mentors told them to stay put, but they didn't. So they entered the Cadmus facility, and as they went deeper into the facility, they found what are these things called genomes, and a clone of Superman named Superboy, who was also named Project KR, who was run by Blockbuster, or I don't know the guy's original name, but who cares. So they rescued Superboy, and from then on, the Justice League came, all the Justice League members came down around them, thinking that, what the heck have you done? You were supposed to stay put. But they told them, all 4 of them said, Batman, this is what you've been training us to do. And Superboy was like, it's simple, get on board or get out of the way. So pretty much they told their mentors, what we just did here today, what we could have done anytime. What you guys do is different. We're doing something beyond your level. So on that day, Batman decided to create a covert team of the of superheroes. Pretty much, they're working with the League, but the League still handles the big stuff, while the team handles the covert secret operations. And on that day, they also got another member, Miss Martian, who is Martian Manhunter's niece, and a white Martian. And then sooner or later, as the show progresses, they have a new member named Artemis who was supposed to be Green Arrow's niece. And the same crazy thing is, Robin was like, another niece? Jeez, runs in the family. But even though Artemis is not Green Arrow's niece, because when I watched the show, I was like, Green Arrow has a niece? I'm like, where is all this happening? But she wasn't Green Arrow's niece. She was the daughter of Sportsmaster and the Huntress, not Helena Bertolini Huntress, a whole different type of Huntress. So, and from then on, the six became quite best friends, and relationships started to spark up between Superboy and Miss Martian, and immediately fans, shipped them together. And sooner or later, Wally and Artemis became a thing with each other. And then as season 1 progressed, we got my female DC superhero crush, Zatanna, got added to the team, and she was phenomenal. And as soon as she walked through, as she entered the cave, Robin just like, "Hi, I'm Robin." He was like, "Whoa, slow down there, Tiger." He was like ready to jump the gun. And sooner or later, Zatanna began to join the team, and then Rocket, I would say she joined the team a little too late. I think she joined at the second to last episode of season 1. And so the plot was for season 1 was a group of supervillains called the Light, which was the group consists of Vandal Savage, Lex Luthor, Queen Bee, the Brain, Clarion the Witch Boy, Ocean Master, but he didn't last that long, and Ra's al Ghul. I don't know if I'm missing anyone else. Oh yes, and Black Manta and Sportsmaster, but Black Manta plays a big role in season 2. So, with that being said, yeah. So the Light has had pretty much Vandal Savage was pulling the strings the whole time. It took me, after watching this show for a third time, it took me to fit it into my brain, connecting the whole puzzle pieces together. I'm like, oh, so Vandal Savage is pretty much in charge of everyone. So he was the one that plotted the whole thing with Speedy later on, who became Red Arrow, but soon to find out, he figures out he's a clone of the original Speedy, and figures out that he was the mole that he told Aqualad, saying there was a mole on your team, so you need to figure it out. And then later on, close to the season 1 finale, he figures out I was the mole. And it was just phenomenal, because there was arguments, there was not yet. There were tensions building up, and there were high tension moments at the final peak moment of the season, where you figure out Vandal Savage was the one pulling all the strings, and you figure out, wait a minute, all these villains are working together. All these plots are just diversions to get the heroes to do something, so later on in the background, their final end game can happen. So in pretty much the finale in season 1 was, back in Atlantis, Ocean Master, or in his other identity, Prince Orm, found Starotech, and weaponized it into little microchips and started controlling the Justice League. And Red Arrow actually figured out that he was actually under the control of them. And sooner or later, Roy did join the team. The clone Roy, he joined the team, and then figured out he was the mole. And then Vandal Savage said he was the mole the whole time, and his whole plan was to turn the Justice League rogue. And it kind of worked, because after the team defeated them with the help of Red Tornado and getting Black Canary under control and everything, getting the Starotech out of her neck, Vandal Savage had 6 Justice Leaguers who were under his control: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, John Stewart, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, and Hawkgirl, but in the show they call her Hawkwoman, went on a rampage for 16 hours on an alien planet, and they call that the missing 16 hours. And that was the end of season 1. Now, we skipped to season 2, which was later a 5-year time gap. But if you guys want to know where the whole 5-year time gap was connected, play the video game Young Justice Legacy. Well, you don't have to play the video game. You can look up videos of the video game on YouTube, and it will explain the whole time-year gap. It will explain completely, it will explain everything that happened between those 5 years. And it really does connect everything together. So, you got Young Justice Season 1, the video game Young Justice Season 2, which ties up the gap together, and you have Season 2, Young Justice Invasion, where you have Dick Grayson now as Nightwing, Superboy's still on the team, Miss Martian's still on the team, but she got a little haircut. You have Beast Boy, Wonder Girl, Batgirl, Lagoon Boy, Bumblebee, and Robin, Tim Drake, who I admire the most. I love Tim Drake. So, Young Justice Invasion, pretty much the Justice League had to go to another planet called Rimbor so they could stand trial for the crimes that they did when they were under Vandal Savage's control. But now pretty much the Earth is in the team's hand because they're handling an alien invasion, literally. So they were handling an invasion by a group of aliens called the Krolataeans, but technically they weren't the ones that were invading Earth. The second group of aliens that they were after were known as the Reach. And this is where Blue Beetle plays a big part in the season. I forgot to mention, Blue Beetle plays a big part in the season. Aqualad plays a big part in the season because here, Nightwing puts Aqualad on a silent, covert stealth mission so he can infiltrate the light. And so pretty much he's playing double agent, but he's still on the good side. Because when I was watching this, I was like, when did he revert to the evil side? Like, what happened here? Because in the video game, Aquaman told Aqualad that Black Manta is his father, so he began to accept that. And so Nightwing told him to infiltrate the light to see what are their plans for later on in the future. And he played a really good role, and sometimes the team didn't know what was going on, so they really felt like trust issues was going on. And also, Wally retired, Artemis retired, but then Artemis came back and faked her death, and she's been imposing as Tigress to infiltrate the light as well. But Wally still retired. But he only went back to being Kid Flash for only 2 episodes. One reason was because Barry Allen's grandson, Impulse, came from the future to go to the past to help out, and the second time was during the finale. But I'll save that for later. We'll get to that soon. So Blue Beetle plays a big part of this because the scarab that was on his back was originated by the Reach because they created it and they want him to put him back on mode, pretty much make him part of the Reach, put him under the control of the Reach. My gosh. And not only that, there was another beetle named Black Beetle who his scarab is in control by the Reach. And so Impulse tells him that in the future, Blue Beetle will become an evil tyrant and put the world into destruction. So Jaime wants to get the scarab off his back, but he can't. It's connected to his spine forever. I guess you could say forever. But as the show goes on, another beetle shows up. This beetle is made just for the show. His name is Green Beetle, who is also a Martian named Baaz Oum. And his scarab, he found his scarab the same way, attached to his spine, and sooner or later he gets controlled by the Reach. So the Reach is controlling all three of them. Black Beetle's in control of himself because he works for the Reach, but the Reach is controlling both Blue Beetle and Green Beetle. And I know I'm skipping some parts ahead. So Red Arrow, the clone Roy, was able to go on a mission with Cheshire, who is now his wife, and they also have a kid. They found the real Roy, and the real Roy Harper has lost his arm because of Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor has done something, he got ambushed. So Roy takes it upon himself to assassinate Luthor, but Lex reconciles with him and gives him this new arm it's a cybernetic arm, and pretty much he now calls himself Arsenal. And he also gives himself a buzz cut. and he also joins the team. So while the Justice League is on Rimbor being charged of for what they done, Vandal Savage is on Rimbor, and he's speaking to this alien that's next to him. If that happens, who's going to rule the whole universe? And turns out that villain was Mongol, who was a DC villain I really hate to this day. I can't stand Mongol. I really can't. So Mongol goes to Earth, goes to try to rule the Earth before the Justice League comes back. And so the team was able to put him out of submission, but Blue Beetle is under the Reach's control, and attacks the team, and he puts them, I wouldn't say suspended animation, but these canisters, if I would say. And also when the team was rescuing their team members from the Reach, they also rescued some runaways, 4 runaways if I may ask. You have Tai Longshadow, who is a incarnation of Apache Chief, Eduardo, who is a incarnation of El Diablo, Suzumi, if I'm right, or Asami, if I said her name. I think her name is Asami, who is an incarnation of Samurai, and you have Virgil Hawkins, aka Static Shock. Woo! When I saw the trailer, when I saw the trailer of Static being in the show, I lost my mind. I was like, yes, Static is in the show! Because we haven't seen Static in a TV show since his TV show and Justice League Unlimited. For them to put Static in the show, it was such a dedication to the fans, and I loved it. So Virgil and the other 3 Runaways were their own team, and they call themselves the Runaways. So the Runaways were able to rescue the team along with Arsenal, and so Nightwing, whatchamacallit, he tells Roy that he's off the team, and the Runaways told Arsenal, "You want to roll with us?" And like, yeah, let's do it. And so now we're going off to the final part of the season. So it turns out the Reach and the Light were working together to plan, to take over the Earth. But yet again, they're underestimated. They're underestimated by the team once again. So the team comes. So the Reach and the Light have this summit in this hidden area, and the team infiltrates the whole meeting, and they were able to take out all the villains with ease, along with the Reach. And so the Reach and the Black Beetle says the Reach ambassador has failed the Reach, and he's off the board now. And so they escape. But Vandal Savage himself said, "You're right, we did underestimate these children." And Aqualad said, "Still you call us children. We have I don't know what the quote was, but the team has done things that they never did possible, especially with the Justice League being gone. Even though some Justice League members were on Earth, you had Captain Atom, Black Lightning, I'm gonna call him Shazam, Zatanna, who was now a member of the League, Rocket, and who else was on? And Black Lightning. You had other League members that were on Earth that were able to keep the Earth safe, but the team were able to hold their own by themselves, and they're just young superheroes, and that's a big milestone right there. So in the finale, and this is where we all felt disappointed. In the finale, Black Beetle's endgame was to destroy the Earth, and the Reach had these devices all over the Earth in different continents that caused like different I would say natural disasters. So with the help of Lex, strangely, of course Lex has a plan for everything, they were able to shut off these devices, but there was one device in the Arctic that wasn't shut down because it was already set off. So Flash and Impulse try to run around it to shut it down with their kinetic energy, and then Wally decides to go ahead and lend a hand. But here comes the sad part. Wally was technically too slow, even though he said he admits he's not as fast as them, but he was really too slow. I think he was probably going way faster than them for him to, get, I wouldn't say disintegrated, I would say, but cease to exist. But that's where Wally died. But for us DC fans, we know Wally probably got sucked into the Speed Force. That's what we know. But it was such a sad moment. There were so many. Everyone was, heartbroken after Wally's so-called death. So the League returns to Earth with their charges being dropped, and with Mount Justice being destroyed, the team and the League are working together on the Watchtower. But of course, the team still has their own jobs to do. So Bart becomes the new Kid Flash. Artemis decides to stay as Tigress with her blonde hair. Static joins the team, and Nightwing decides to leave, but he still feels heartbroken because Nightwing, Aqualad, and Wally were the ones that founded this team. So in the end, there were still joyful moments. There were tears shed, but it was still a joyful moment. And then you have the cliffhanger where Vandal Savage takes Warworld to Apocalypse, and he meets up with Darkseid. They shake hands, and Vandal Savage says, "Business as usual." And from then on, the show ends, leaving us with a big cliffhanger. And guys, this was the greatest show that DC could ever give us, because it has such a huge fan base. You had fans creating fan art for the show. There were people cosplaying as the characters from the TV show. There were people creating, little web series of the show on YouTube. This show was such an achievement. It created a huge fan base for everyone. I even cosplayed it as, if you guys saw my pictures from New York Comic Con, I cosplayed as Superboy at this past New York Comic Con. Because pretty much that was the one, that was my first cosplay, and two, that was the only cosplay I was able to do for now. But I enjoyed every single moment of it. It was so beautiful. The show was amazing. It actually got an Emmy, I think, because for its animation, of course. And we want this show back. So pretty much what's been going on ever since the show got canceled back in 2013, you have till now the producer Greg Weisman saying, just keep binge watching the show on Netflix, because both seasons of the show is on Netflix, you guys. And you also have the voice actors as well, helping out, not petitioning, but promoting this hashtag, keep binging Young Justice, or renew Young Justice. So you have both of those hashtags that's been going on. So guys, if you have Netflix, no matter what you do, don't stop watching Young Justice, because I want this show back. The voice actors are prepped and ready. They're ready to go once they get the okay word that we're ready to do season 3. They want the show back as anyone else. I want it back. Me and my friend DC Geek 13, we want the show back, because a few months ago we actually did a let's play of the video game. We're not done yet with the game. We're not even halfway done with the game yet. But it's been a blast. It's been a ride. It's been so much fun. So guys, I know this video was long, but there's a reason why this video was long, because Young Justice, and I will say it 1,000 times, it's one of the greatest DC shows ever made. It's one of the greatest superhero shows ever, and there are other great superhero shows out there, but this show was a heavy hitter for everyone, and I pray that we get this show back. I don't have Netflix, but I've been binge watching the show myself, and I don't mind binge watching the show again, because I enjoyed every single moment. My favorite moment was the season 1 finales, when the team shares their New Year's Eve kiss. And it was so romantic. It was so beautiful. And I just felt touched just by looking at that. And then Red Tornado says a hilarious comment. Human customs still elude me. It was hilarious. But guys, whatever you do, I'm going to put the hashtag in the below. Keep binging Young Justice. No matter what you do, don't stop watching the show. Even if you don't want to look at the screen, just have the show run on. You don't even have to look at the screen. Just have the show just run. Because if Netflix decides to give an okay for season 3, this will be a huge win for us, because as fans. So guys, keep binging Young Justice. Never stop being fans of the show. I'll never stop being fans of the show. And I leave you guys with this. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until then, I am Vengeance. I am Darkness. I am Blackwing. Stay golden.